Spider-Man Far From Home is going to kick off the fourth phase of the MCU, and with Endgame just having come out and it being amazing, it ended off Marvel's Phase 3, also known as the Infinity Saga. Well, Phase 1, 2, and 3 have been dubbed as the Infinity Saga, as Thanos was kind of the main villain of all of those three phases. So, what's to come in Phase 4? Now, first, I wanted to talk about Endgame's ending, which is basically the end is where we see Steve finally getting his dance with Peggy Carter that he promised to have in the end of the first Avenger. So we find out after that Steve actually stayed there and lived a full life with her, which is okay, and he is now an old man, which we found out in the end of the movie. So then, old man Steve gives his indestructible vibranium shield to Sam Wilson, and this obviously sets up Sam Wilson becoming Captain America in Phase 4. So they could do something with this. They could do either a Sam Wilson Captain America movie, which I think that would be pretty boring to watch, honestly. I don't think that would work as well. I don't know what storyline they would give Sam Wilson. Like, he doesn't really have a life outside of the Avengers. Like, we know none of his friends. We don't really know if he has any. And now that Steve is dead, the only one that he's kind of friends with is Bucky. So that's the only really supporting character they could have in such a movie. But I guess they could also, introduce some characters as well. But I don't really think that would work. And the other option is they could just have him be part of the new Avengers, which I think that option is far better. And I guess if Sam Wilson becomes the Captain America, I guess maybe Rhodey could become Iron Man. But, there's also the possibility that Morgan, Tony's daughter, can become Iron Man, or Pepper Potts can become Iron Man. But out of those three characters, I would want Rhodey to be Iron Man the most. So I think he should become the new Iron Man, and we could get, those two, Sam Wilson and Rhodey being Captain America and Iron Man, and they could lead the new Avengers or something. Although Captain America and Iron Man are out of the spotlight, it seems Thor is entering it again, as he joined the Guardians of the Galaxy in the end of Endgame, and yeah, it looks like he will be playing a big role in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which, by the way, is a confirmed movie in Phase 4. You can see the other movies here, and I will be talking about each of them later in this video. So I guess in this Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we'll have Thor there, and we could see some, back and forth between Star-Lord and Thor, which is always welcome. So in that final scene where, Thor joins the Guardians, we also see that they are searching for the 2014 version of Nebula. So this is their idea of bringing Nebula back. Honestly, I get why people say that death is meaningless in the MCU. The only people who really died are Tony Stark, Black Widow, which those two we aren't even certain of yet, Quicksilver, and I thought Gamora was one of those people that was going to die for real, but I guess this is their way of bringing her back. So they're probably just going to find Gamora in the movie. She's going to be unwilling to work with them in the beginning, but they take her captive. Then throughout the movie, she's going to warm up to them, and then maybe in the end, she'll date Star-Lord or something, or maybe it sets up for the next movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4, where she will date Star-Lord or something. But I guess she had to come back. So, of course, they brought her back. And I don't know what she will be doing in the movie. She could be, still loyal to Thanos and stuff. It would be interesting to see, how she was in the first Guardians, but whatever. And not only did they bring Gamora back, they brought Loki back as well. Yay. Honestly, I really understand when people say that death is meaningless in the MCU, because Loki and Gamora have both been brought back. And I'm guessing they'll both have a role in Guardians Volume 3. So Loki, basically, he's brought back. I don't know why they keep bringing people back. The only people I can think on the top of my head that are still, that actually died in the MCU are Black Widow, Iron Man, and as I said before, we aren't certain about those two, Heimdall, Quicksilver, and of course Gamora and Loki, but they've been brought back. So basically, the Avengers go back in time to the first Avengers, and Loki has been captured. And while everyone is distracted, Loki basically grabs the Tesseract or the Space Stone, and he uses it to teleport away. Which now Loki is free around wherever he went. He could have gone anywhere. Now he's free in the universe, and that is probably something they are going to deal with in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, is what Loki's going to be doing. Maybe he could be the main villain, which I think that would be a horrible idea, but I think he could at least play a little role in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's the first option. Or he could, as we know, there's like a Loki series starting on Disney's new streaming service, which I think it's more likely to be that we're gonna see in that series what Loki is gonna be doing after he escaped there. Another character that's very likely to appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock could be, he could be either a villain or he could help the Guardians, because, you see, in the comics, Adam Warlock is an artificially created human who was, like, created in the Atlantic Ocean or something, and he has been affiliated with the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics, and I think he even dated Gamora at some point, which they could explore that. That would be interesting, to say the least. But it seems they are switching it a bit up in the movie side of things, because in the movies it seems Adam Warlock is being created by the Sovereign race, which is the Sovereign. They're, the yellow people from Guardians of the Galaxy. And it does make sense since, most of the times Adam Warlock is depicted with having yellow skin. But in the comics, Adam Warlock has been associated with Thanos, and he has battled Thanos a lot of times. He's worn the Infinity Gauntlet, I think, of multiple times. So that's basically what he mostly does in the comics. He's mostly in, him and Thanos are mostly like enemies. That's mostly what he does, but it will be interesting to see what they're gonna do in the movie now that, Thanos he's gone. He can't be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because he's gone. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of role Adam Warlock is gonna play in this movie. Like I said before, the first movie to kick off the fourth phase of the MCU will be Spider-Man Far From Home, and I think this movie will definitely be about Peter Parker and Happy Hogan dealing with Tony Stark's death. And actually, I said in my Avengers Endgame review that I can't see how Pepper Potts and Tony's daughter Morgan, what they would do in the future of the MCU, but I guess they could play a role in Spider-Man Far From Home where they're like grieving, and maybe Happy could babysit Morgan or something. So I guess that's a role they could play, and maybe Pepper Potts could help Peter Parker in the rescue armor in the climax of Far From Home or something. But honestly, everything that we've seen from Far From Home at this point looks really good, and it also looks like we're going to be seeing Peter and MJ starting to date in this movie, which I like because it's comic accurate. Although MJ isn't Mary Jane, she's just MJ. I think they just said that she's Michelle, obviously, but I think Michelle just said, "Call me MJ," in the end of Spider-Man Homecoming as an excuse for her to be called MJ in this movie, so she'll be more like Mary Jane, but I'm glad they're going to date because it's comic accurate. And then, of course, we get also to see Spider-Man teaming up with Nick Fury, which I think is, I don't know. I mean, it's cool to see Nick Fury back and all. He was in like a few seconds in Endgame. But I think maybe we should have a movie in the MCU where Spider-Man is like alone and not teaming up with any other heroes. Like in the Raimi trilogy, in the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy, he didn't team up with any other heroes unless you count Harry from from Spider-Man from Raimi's trilogy. But I think it was nice to see him not team up with any heroes, and in the MCU, he's pretty much always teamed up with other heroes. It would be nice to, see him not be with any other heroes in this and just be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and not team up with Iron Man, Nick Fury, Happy Hogan, Pepper Potts, whoever. I think we should just have an MCU Spider-Man movie where it's just him. and also, of course, getting to see Mysterio in the movie. I think it is going to be really awesome to see Mysterio in live action. His costume looks great. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is going to play him perfectly. And ever since we heard that Mysterio was going to be in the canceled Spider-Man 4, I've always thought since then that, hey, it would be cool to see Mysterio in live action in a Spider-Man movie. And we're finally getting it in Far From Home, so yeah, I may do a Far From Home how to do it, but I think I'm just going to wait until the movie comes out and do my review. But let me know if you want me to do a how to do it on Spider-Man Far From Home. There has also been confirmed to be a movie about the Eternals, which basically, the Eternals are characters or humans that were experimented a long time ago by the Celestials, who we saw the Celestials in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I think it was. Yeah, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's going to be cool to see them return, even though in the first one they didn't really play any role. I think we just saw them for a quick moment. Then there is a movie about Shang-Chi, who Shang-Chi in the comics is the world's greatest martial artist in Marvel Comics. I mean, before I made this video, I had no idea who Shang-Chi was, but when I saw there was going to be a movie about him, I looked him up, and I found out that he's, in Marvel Comics, he is the world's greatest martial artist, and his father's like some Chinese immortal villain or something. So, yeah, it's gonna be, I don't know what role he can possibly play in the MCU. It's been said that the movie will be updated for modern audiences, so yeah, I'm excited. I think it could be like a Doctor Strange type of movie, just without the mystical power element, and just with martial arts instead, which will be pretty cool. Then there is a Black Widow movie, which, as most of us know, spoilers for Avengers Endgame if you haven't seen it, but you should have seen it if you're here. Black Widow dies. So, yeah, I mean, it could, of course, be, a prequel, but I think that's what it's most likely to be. If they do something stupid like, oh, they're bringing her back to life or something for her solo movie, I'm gonna get so mad. That's the worst thing they could possibly do with this movie. It would be horrible. I would not like that at all. So I'm also glad it's a prequel. Like, even if she didn't die in Endgame, let's say it was Hawkeye who killed himself instead, I still would want the movie to be a prequel, because I can't see what a modern Black Widow movie what it would be about. Like, the prequel, it can be her origin story. It's gonna be really cool. Then there is Doctor Strange 2, which Doctor Strange 2, it has also been another movie been confirmed for phase 4. Now, Doctor Strange 2, it will be cool to, see Doctor Strange getting back to his usual stuff after being, gone, basically being dead for 5 years. And as for who the villain will be, I am thinking that the villain will be a character who was actually also the in the first Doctor Strange movie, and I think it's gonna be Baron Mordo. I believe Baron Mordo will be the main villain. We saw him, turning evil in the first Doctor Strange, and I think it's pretty obvious that he is gonna be the main villain. But it's gonna be cool to see Doctor Strange and Wong teaming up again, and I can't wait. Then there is Black Panther 2, which is, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Black Panther gets back to Wakanda after being gone for 5 years. If you think about it, there's probably going to be a new king, because, like, Wakanda can't just live without a king in 5 years. They're going to need someone new, and I think that king could, possibly be the main villain of the movie. I mean, I guess it's kind of like the first Black Panther, where Killmonger was the king and he was also the main villain. But I think they could do something like that again, where Black Panther returns and there's this evil guy who's the king. But then if they make a third Black Panther, don't do that again. We don't need that 3 times. I think this time would be okay, but if they do it again, no. Then there is Ant-Man 3. This movie, I can't really see what they're gonna do. Like, I think Cassie is probably gonna play a bigger role in this movie than she's done in, maybe not the previous 2, but definitely the last one. Yeah, I really have no ideas for this movie. I can't think of anything that could happen. I mean, sure, Hope and Aunt May are gonna get back into stuff and something, but I don't know who the villain could be. I don't know what could be happening in this movie. like I said before, Phase 1, 2, and 3 have been dubbed the Infinity Saga by Kevin Feige. And that, as we know, Thanos was kind of the main villain of those three phases. So, in Phase 4, we could probably be getting, a new main villain for the MCU, as Thanos is no longer the MCU's main villain. So it looks like we'll be getting like a new main villain in in uh Phase 4. So I'm gonna do another video soon of the top 10 characters that could become the new main villain of the MCU, or the top 5 probably, that villains that should become new main villains of the MCU in Phase 4. So look forward to that. Then there's the X-Men and Fantastic Four, who have also been confirmed to, be in the MCU, and they're coming soon. They're probably coming in Phase 4 though. But I think maybe it's a little late to introduce them. Like, if you think about it, you will never see any of the Fantastic Four or the X-Men interact with Iron Man or Captain America ever in the MCU. Like, you're never gonna see that, because they're both, Captain America is old and Iron Man's dead. So, I mean, it is late to introduce them, but I mean, come on, it's the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. We've been wanting them in the MCU for so long. I mean, it's better than them not being there, is what I'm trying to say. But I think it's probably either an X-Men or a Fantastic Four villain that is going to be the main villain of Phase 4, and maybe 5 and 6 also, because think about it, Thanos was the main villain of 3 phases, so I guess the next character could be also a main villain of 2 or 3 phases. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I can't wait to see these guys in the MCU. If you want me to make a video on who could play these characters, that I could do that. But let me know in the comments if you want that, and let me also know in the comments what your predictions for Phase 4 is. Because those were just my predictions, and I can't wait to see where the MCU what will happen in the MCU going forward. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.